Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you have all had an amazing Christmas. Today we are doing a glittery copper smoky eye tutorial. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this yet, but I really hope I get this up before New Year's Eve. It's a really nice New Year's inspiration. If not, it's a perfect night out look or an everyday makeup look depending on what you like. So I really hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you do down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe as well, and please give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see how we got this whole face today, then keep watching. We're going to be doing eyes first today because we are using glitter, and I will make an absolute mess if I use glitter after I've done my base. So I'm going to prime them with this concealer. This is the Maybelline Instant Anti-Age the Eraser Eye Concealer. And I also do apologise if I do sound and maybe look a little bit groggy because I do have a bit of a cold, but I really wanted to film this video, so we're just going to power through. I'm going to use this little flat brush just to apply it, and I'm going to slightly like carve out my brows at the same time, but I can always make them look a little bit better later on. And then I'm just going to use my beauty blender to blend that in a little bit better. For eyeshadows, I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette because I haven't used this in ages. I do really want to pick this up a little bit more. So I'm going to start with Burnt Orange. I want to keep this eye look quite simple in the fact that I'm not using a lot of shadows, but I do want it to be quite dramatic at the same time. So I'm just taking a big fluffy brush, and this is going to be our transition shade, so I'm working this into the crease. I always end up taking a little bit on the outer corner as well because we are kind of going from dark to light, and I've been wanting to do like a copper glitter eyeshadow look for so long, and it is going to be New Year's Eve, so I thought that that would be like the perfect opportunity. So I always see a transition shade as the colour that is going to help blend out all the other shades that you're going to use, especially like the darker ones. It's going to help make like a nice gradient. So I always take my time in buffing the transition shades out so they're really seamless. But you can come back later on and work on them. It really doesn't matter. It's just however you prefer to apply them. I'm just going to pick up like a medium brown shade. I'm just using this one from the Kylie bronze palette. Is this? Yeah, this one is the bronze palette because I don't want to use Real Gold because it is a little bit too orange. And Cypress Umber I'm going to use later on because that one is quite dark. So I'm just going to go in with a tiny bit of that one. It's like a reddish brown. You could use like Coco Bear from Makeup Geek or something like that, because I don't want this to be too like warm and orangey, because I do eventually, when I get round to it, want to do a red smoky eye. So I don't want everything to be like too samey, so I want this to be more focused on the browns and then the copper on the inner corner. So I'm basically going in exactly the same places with this. I'm just not blending it up as high as the first transition shade we used. And I've also switched to like a slightly smaller brush as well. So all I'm doing is just going back and forth and just letting the brush blend everything out for me. I'm not blending upwards, I'm just keeping it following in the socket and just going side to side. So now we are going to go in with Cypress Umber, and I'm taking the same brush that we just used, and all I'm doing is patting this first on the outer part of the lid, and then with any excess, that is when I'm going to go into the crease with it. And I'm using a really light hand because I don't really want that much in the crease, but I do want it to look quite seamless. And then I'm just quickly going back in with that shade for 1 second, and I'm just darkening up the crease a little bit with this one. I do feel like the more times you go in with a shadow and just really carefully build it up layer by layer, the more seamless and the more blended your eyeshadow will look. So I think just taking your time is key, really. And then once more going back in, just doing the exact same steps all over again, but I'm not bringing this into the crease anymore. I'm just patting it on the outer part of the lid. Okay, so now I'm just going to go over the lid with a bit of concealer. This is where the copper eyeshadow and glitter is going to be. You don't have to cut the crease at all if you think that's going to be a little bit more difficult. You can just wet your brush and apply your eyeshadow straight over the top of this. I'm not amazing at all at doing this, but I do find it makes your eyeshadow pop just a little bit more, so it is worth just trying it out. I'm using a small flat brush, the same concealer that I used earlier. You are basically just outlining your natural crease, or you could go a little bit higher with the concealer and then just filling it in. That's all you're doing. So over the top I'm going to use a copper eyeshadow. The only one that I've got is this one here from the Jaclyn Hill palette. All the rest that I've got are a bit more on the gold side. So I'm going to use that one. I have already sprayed my brush as well with some Fix Plus. I'm also using a flat brush because I just find it a bit more precise. And then just to help blend over where those two meet, again back in with that reddish brown, putting over where those two meet. Okay, now moving on to the glitter, I'm going to use the NYX Glitter Glue with their glitter as well. This is in the shade number 4. It's a really nice copper. I'm going to apply the glitter glue literally everywhere, all over this copper eyeshadow and a little bit where it ends as well, just so it kind of tapers off. And I'm concentrating most of it on this inner corner. It is so nice and sparkly. And then when you feel like you have enough on this inner section, any excess just pat over to this side and it'll just taper off nicely over that darker shadow. And then I'm going back in with Cypress Umber and just patting it on this very, very outer corner. Okay, so I don't feel like we're going to be making much more mess now, so I'm going to clean all this up and sharpen up this line as we do that. And then I'm going to do the rest of my face now before I finish the eyes. So I'm going to use the Milani 2-in-1 Conceal and Perfect Foundation and Concealer. For my concealer, I'm using the same Maybelline Age Rewind. And I'm also going to use this to sort of sharpen up those edges as well. With that foundation as well, I forgot to say I mixed shades 6 and 2. And again, just bouncing that in with my beauty blender. Sometimes I find it easier to blend my concealer with a little brush when it gets closer to my eyes, because I like a full coverage under eye, but just in here it does get quite creasy, so the brush kind of like shears it out a little bit for me and like stops some of the creasiness. I'm going to set my under eyes first. This is the Mercier translucent powder. I'm going to contour with this stick from Rimmel in the shade Medium. And I'm just setting the rest of my face with that powder and just sharpening off that contour. For bronzer, I'm going to use MAC's Give Me Sun. And I do like to use mine as a blush as well, so I always bring it up onto my cheeks. I'm just going to use a little bit of Luminoso to add just a little bit of colour. Okay, so my camera battery went dead, so while I was waiting for it, literally all I've done is applied my mascara and lashes. For lashes, I've used the Koko Lashes Amore. To finish the under eyes, I'm going to first use the Costa Rica pencil from MAC, and I'm just going to line my waterline with this. And then on a little flat definer brush, I'm going to take Cypress Umber, which was that really dark brown. I'm going to press this right into my bottom lash line. And I'm going to join it up with this outer flick that we've created as well. And then I'm using the brown from the Kylie palette and just blending underneath. Then finally I'm taking a really light fluffy brush with burnt orange and just going right underneath. Okay, I feel like I'm using like 100 different palettes, but I really don't mean to. I just don't have what I want all in one. So now I'm going to use the Carli Bybel palette. I just want this gold shade here because it's my favourite highlight at the moment, and I also want to use it for my inner corner. So I'm just patting that into the inner corner, and then I'm also going to highlight up here with that as well. And then I'm going to use this to highlight my cheeks as well. I've also just realised I forgot to do bottom lash mascara. So I am using the Selfie Lash from Tanya Burr. So for lips, I'm going to use the Kylie Cosmetics Lip Kit in the shade Exposed. I'm hoping this isn't going to be too light. I don't think it will. So that completes this Copper Glitter Smoky Eye tutorial, whatever I'm going to call it. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did down in the comments below, and please give it a big thumbs up as well and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!